Dewdrop.
You see, what I like to do, Charlotte, is just go live like that. Just catch you completely off guard. So, today I'm joined by the very lovely Charlotte Clarke. She's been here for about 10 minutes, and so far we've spoken about coffee, cow's milk, and
grapes that look like aubergines.
Odd aubergine-shaped grapes. So, welcome to Raw Docs. You've obviously been here before.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Charlotte is, you're a PT in London City.
Mm-hmm.
Could we say that you are a fitness personality?
I guess.
Yeah, let's do it. She's like jet setting, so she just got back from Germany. What were you doing in Germany?
I was at FIBO in Cologne, which is a big fitness expo, a bit like Body Power in the UK,
yep.
times 10.
Okay.
Huge. So I was with, oh my goodness, teeth in my mouth. I was there with my sponsors, working their stand for 4 days.
Who's your sponsor? Little plug?
Little plug. Diamond Toes Europe.
Okay.
Big American brand just coming over to the UK.
And what do they do? Is it just a nutrition thing?
Yeah, so it's mainly protein, known for its ISO 100.
Beautiful.
5 years. It's won an award at bodybuilding.com.
Okay.
Like really tasty though.
Nice. How long have you been sponsored by them for?
Well, only recently, but I've been working with them since I worked at Body Power with them last year.
Okay.
So I was hired as a model, interesting story, hired as a model to
Nice.
just stand on their stand in short shorts and a crop top and hand out protein bars.
I got offered that, but they just didn't want it.
I don't know why not.
I know.
Yeah, and then they kept working with me. They took me to Berlin in February, shot a campaign for them, all about being more than training and not just being about chicken and broccoli.
Good.
And then they just took me to FIBO, which is
amazing.
Really
Do they pay for everything? Pay for your flights? Pay for accommodation?
Pay for everything and pay for my time.
Oh my god, you're just living the dream.
Yeah.
Do you have any other trips lined up with them?
Not at the moment. I'm with them at Body Power.
Okay.
Again, so that's weekend of the 12th of May for 4 days. 3 days. Mm-hmm. And at the moment, that's all that's lined up, but who knows?
Nice. That's like the dream, isn't it? There's everyone who goes into the fitness industry who wants to build an Instagram following. That's like the main thing. Get a supplement sponsor.
Yeah, I've had some awful sponsor agreements.
Really?
In my short-lived career so far. But when you're new to the industry, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then you realise that you're getting nothing, but you're having to give so much. And you're still paying for like your supplements for some of these brands, but they want exclusivity from you.
Well, I think a lot of people just want to have that little blurb in their Instagram bio where they can say that they're sponsored by X brand and this, and it just gives them a little sense of purpose and credibility. And also it gives them an excuse to put extra Instagram posts out holding shakers.
Exactly. And then it's not until you end up with a good brand, with a good deal, that you realise that you weren't actually a sponsored athlete at the time because you were still paying for your supplements.
Yeah, exactly. You were just giving away your identity, your brand,
just
your own brand.
Them,
exactly. Yeah, you got to be very careful. So how long have you been with them for then, with this new company?
So I actually only got my contract through recently.
Okay.
Because the company's based in Germany and they're very, very strict and down with the law and stuff when it comes to sponsorships and collaborations. Very German about it. But no, I've been working with them consistently all the way since Body Power last year.
Really cool. So how long have you been within the fitness industry? How long have you been a PT for?
So I qualified as a PT in 2016.
Okay.
Didn't work straight away. I started teaching classes straight away. Coming from a dance background, I used to teach lots of dance, and so teaching was kind of like the natural step for me. So I started teaching fitness classes alongside my other job, and then gave that up gave up my other job, and now I'm full-time PT fitness instructor as of last March, so just over a year.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Has it been worth the move? Has it been worth taking the plunge?
So much. So I was working in a bar before.
Okay.
So I'd be up at 5 to teach classes and then go about my training in the day and then go work in the evening, get home. I lived in a flat with 4 other people with a small fridge, so I couldn't prep any food in advance.
Right.
So when I got home at like 11 p.m, I'd then have to do my meal prep for the next day to then get up at 5 and do it all again.
Yeah.
That lasted 6 months.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So what was that just... What was the main reason that you decided to go into the fitness industry then? Was it just because of the love of it? Were you training a lot before?
Yeah, so it's something that I always knew I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure when it would happen for me. So I moved to London in 2014. I wanted to make it as a dancer and, you know, a model and all of this. So I was doing lots of TV extras work, that sort of stuff.
That's a hard grind, right?
Yeah, and you don't know when your money's coming in because they've got up to, I think it's 3 months or something to pay you. So you could do a shoot and you could get paid 90 days later.
Oh my God.
And so you're doing all this work, but you don't know if you're going to make your rent, whether you can afford food or anything. And so I was doing that. I was doing dance work. And then I was actually shooting an advert for Pure Gym, their first ever TV advert. I was on that and I met a PT there and we just got talking. It turns out he was a PT at the gym that I went to back when I went to the gym just to do handstands and forearm stands and balance on one foot on a Bosu ball.
No, of course. it's like the entry thing I was talking about with Jane Lowe as well. Like when you first start training, and I must say, particularly women, when they first start training at the gym, it's just like there's like this pull. Like gravity towards the Bosu ball.
And you've got to be the best on that Bosu as well.
Lunge on the Bosu ball. Always like Russian twists on the Bosu ball.
Yeah. But I would do dancey shit on it as well. So I'd stand on one leg and grab one other leg up behind me.
Why?
Showing off. Instagram, that's why.
Yeah.
So I was doing all of that and that's why I had my gym membership. Really, you know, good use of my money.
Yep.
It turns out he was a trainer at my gym and we just got talking and he'd mentioned competing. I didn't initiate that conversation, although it's something that always intrigued me. Horrendous story. I watched that documentary that Jodie Marsh did.
Oh God, I remember that one. Ago. Yeah.
I was so young and I was dancing and, you know, have to be really thin to dance, things like that. So my goal was to just remain super duper skinny. And I watched this documentary and there's a certain bit in it where she's on the leg extension machine crying her eyes out. I remember the scene, yeah. And her coach is shouting at her and I was like, I want to know what that feels like. I don't know why, but I want to know what that feels like. But I thought, you know, it's just never gonna be the case. And then, so it'd always been there in the back of my mind. And then this trainer brought it up about competing and I was like, oh no, that little seed that was there has now been watered and it might start to grow. And then we were just like, okay, shall we do it? And he PT'd me 5 days a week for 6 months for free.
Oh my God.
And got me stage ready.
Had he prepped people before?
No. So that's why he did it for free. So it was my first ever show. It was his first time prepping someone. I used to blog a lot of the time. I had a bigger Instagram following and stuff than him, so it was little plugs for him and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then so we did it 6 months, 5 days a week, and then I stepped on stage, and that was before I was qualified or anything. So I was completely new to the fitness game.
Yeah.
At that point, the Bosu was left in the corner collecting
just
dust.
Like conventional back day, shoulder day, arm day.
Yeah. Trained like legs twice a week, and then everything else was like sort of like once a week. And that's kind of just how I got into it. Fell in love with it. Dropped the dancing, realised that I enjoyed fitness more, although I couldn't necessarily afford competing. I did it anyway.
What, from a nutrition standpoint?
No, financially.
What do you mean by...
So I did my first bodybuilding show April 2016.
Okay.
And for girls, a lot of girls have bikinis made for them. I've only ever had I've done 3 shows now and I've only ever had a secondhand bikini.
How much do they cost?
A second-hand bikini has still cost me £200.
What?
Yeah. Some girls will pay, I'm not even kidding, £1,000 plus for a bikini they're going to wear on stage once because they'll get another one made. What's so special about them? Well, some of them have got like Swarovski, however you say it, crystals on them. Yeah. Someone in Brazil makes it.
Yeah, but the judges can't tell whether it's a crystal or not.
Exactly, right?
Or a bit of glitter.
But yeah, these are custom made for your body within an inch of your bum cheek and stuff. It's an expensive thing. And then hair's like £60, makeup £60, tan is £60. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. You have to pay to enter the competitions as well.
Yeah.
How much is the entry fee?
£60 a category for my show.
Oh my God.
So I did 3 categories in my last show.
And if you win, what do you get?
So I won.
Of course.
Well, you say that. It took me 3 shows to win a show.
Yeah.
I didn't place at all in any of my other shows in any other category until my most recent one. So you win. So I won the amateur bikini short, so up to 5'5". And so I won my pro card, so I now get to compete as a pro, which is exciting. Where the actual prizes are.
Yeah.
Because my category itself, winning that, didn't give any prize as such, other than the qualification to go into the pro show, which to me is still huge.
Yeah, getting that pro card, yeah.
And I'm still gonna compete, just not until next year, because there are some girls in my category and I want to move up a category. I want to move out of bikini and into fitness model.
Okay.
And it can sound quite blurred between the two, but basically in fitness model you need good capped shoulders.
So you were in bikini?
I won bikini and I want to go to fitness model.
What's the main difference then?
Like quad separation, rocking 6-pack, built shoulders, lats in fitness model.
Okay.
Bikini's like, I train, I look good.
Yeah.
And so I entered both categories last time and came first in bikini and third in fitness model.
Oh, wow.
And so I was able to, luckily bikini was first, and so I just didn't do any pumping up. I didn't have any sugar beforehand. I turned up, put my bikini on and walked on stage.
Because bikini is more about sort of looking a bit softer.
Yeah. And then for fitness, I came off stage from bikini, had like some honey, got my resistance bands out, pumped up for that. And I properly posed, like flexed on stage. And so my photos are quite different, which is really fascinating.
And it's on the same day?
On the same day, within like an hour of each other.
It's amazing when you get like to that stage where you're so lean, and you've deprived your body of so much prior to the show.
Yeah.
How if you then just put a huge amount of carbs in, what effect that can have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it really shows what effect it can have.
Yeah, it's
when
mental.
you're taking it right to the extreme. That's fascinating. So when are you going to do your next show then?
I'm looking at April 2019.
Wow, so you're planning that far ahead?
Yeah.
Do you know which one?
So I know I definitely want to do the Pure Elite World Championships as a pro. Like, I've won my pro card.
Yeah.
I don't see the point in going to win a pro card and then not competing as a pro.
Yeah, don't
a lot of people, get bored and switch federations, things like that. But I've done 3 shows. I've only ever competed with Pure Elite. I've done 3 shows to get this pro card, to get this win. So I want to compete as a pro and win as a pro now.
Yeah.
And some of the girls in this fitness model category, if I was to step on stage with them right now, I'd look like their little sister, just like tugging on the sleeve going, I want to go. So I'm taking the year to build, grow, eat.
Yeah.
So I can step on and, win.
So are you on, without using that horrible term, are you in a bulking phase at the moment then? Are you
Improvement season.
Improvement, is that what it's called? Improvement season.
I know some people call it off season, but, it just has these connotations around it where you just eat horrendously.
Lazy.
And,
It's a lazy approach,
Yeah. But I'm still weight training 5 times a week. I teach 19 fitness classes a week. I do about 25,000 steps a day.
Oh, so your calorie intake must be ridiculous. What are you on now?
Just over 2,000 a day.
Really? I thought you should be on more.
Wow.
Because if you're teaching that much and walking so much, your expenditure...
It's my own fault. So I came out of my show and didn't reverse diet.
Right.
I went through a breakup and stuff, and it just was not the recipe for a good post-show reverse diet.
Right.
And so I didn't reverse diet, and then Christmas happened, obviously in December. And then I was like, right, January, let's do a cut. And then my birthday happens in February, and I'm a big fan of donut time. Now that donut time is in the UK, I love
What's donut time?
Oh my goodness.
Obviously a donut shop.
Yeah. So they started in Australia.
Okay.
And my sister's a professional dancer, and she was out in Australia last year. She was like, there's these amazing vegan donuts. They're not all vegan, but she's vegan. They do donuts the size of your face. Like, they're huge. They're the most... So she's going about these donuts, and I was like, what is she talking about? And then this donut time opened in the UK, and I was like, Jessica, these donuts are incredible. She was like, I was telling you about them. And there was just so much excitement. Anyway, been a little bit obsessed since.
How often are we taking trips to donut time?
A little too often.
What's a little
Not
too
anymore.
Often? Okay. When? Be honest.
At least once a week.
Okay.
And then I won a box of 6 at Christmas.
How do you win a box of donuts?
Instagram.
Really?
You had to post a picture.
Putting out a picture of donut time.
You had to post a picture in a Christmas jumper with one of their donuts.
I'm just gonna keep posting.
And I was like I need an excuse to buy a donut to win 6
You know, like people want that supplement sponsor.
Yeah.
I want a donut sponsor.
That would be the dream.
That's what I'm going for.
Literally the dream. So yeah, anyway, I ate too much. Training got inconsistent. And then my sister was going off on her next cruise contract, and so we were just doing lots of eating out because we had to fit it all in before she went away for 8 months. And so I just wasn't taking care of my nutrition, which meant that my body wasn't responding how it should have been because I wasn't treating it properly. And so yeah, my calories aren't as high as what they could be on maintenance.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to do a mini cut for body power because I want to look shit hot.
Of course, yeah. I think that's important to hear because people just assume, because of all the content that gets put out by fitness personalities on Instagram, which is obviously daily, and these people like yourself putting out stories, and it's just continuous. People just assume that people are just religious about it, and that there's no struggle, and that there is no that there's not like that struggle discipline wise.
Yeah.
People just assume, oh well, you know, she's a fitness girl, she's a bodybuilder, she's a PT, so it must just be that easy for her. I think people need to know that it's just as much a struggle for the people who are leading the classes, leading the sessions, as it is for, you know, the client themselves.
Yeah, like I've had like a few people message me on Instagram and be like, because I, like you said before, like I put out quite a few Instagram stories. Yeah. And they'll be like, it's so good that I can relate to, like, you're showing that there is a struggle to it as well. Like when I've got a show and I'm in that sort of like real close stage of prep, I'm so tunnel vision, I'm in it, and there is absolutely nothing that can make me stray, like not even like seasoning on my food, things like that. I will go dead strict, and there is no, it's horrendous. I'm more likely to undereat than overeat on a show prep. Okay. Whereas now, my show isn't for another year, and I'm like, I want to do a cut for body power, and I find it really hard because I'm like, well, everyone knows that I'm not competing for another year. I don't have to have a 6-pack. I might want it, but do I really want it that much? Oh, that chocolate looks nice. Yeah. And so I struggle to stay super on it when I haven't got a show right there. Yeah.
I was saying on one of the podcasts I did last week, I've got I'm going to Ibiza in June for my mate's stag do, and I'm trying to get on it because they're just a bunch of like city boys going, and I obviously own a gym, so I don't want to be like the.
So there's the pressure to look like.
I don't want to be the gym owner who doesn't look like a gym owner. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So they'll just be like, what's going on with him? Yeah. So saying that,
like pure gym managers.
Yeah. No comment.
Am I allowed to say that?
No comment. So I've recently, this is quite funny. So as I say, I live miles away. So I live at like about an hour's drive away from here, and I'm very, very luckily, I most weeks I only have to be here like 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah. But if I want to train, I still want to train. So I joined the Pure Gym, which is down the road from me because it's like £20 a month. And I started training there, and obviously I own a CrossFit gym, so it's a very, very different vibe from a commercial gym.
And very different kit too.
Very different kit, and the vibe's very different. It's been a while since I've been in that sphere. And then I'm looking at the PTs, and this sounds horrible. Some of them are fantastic. Like I've seen some of them, and I'm like, watching them coach, I'm like, they know what they're talking about, and it's clear. They look like they know what they're doing. They look the part. But there are some PTs where I'm like, how are you getting clients? I mean, just from like the look of it, like, you know, it sounds terrible, but if I was a client, a prospective client, and I saw a PT that was overweight, I'd be like, you clearly aren't practicing what you're preaching. Yeah. So why would I almost listen to what you're doing? They might have huge amounts of knowledge, and they might be very like personable, but I think that is.
And you're a walking advertisement for what you do.
Of course, yeah. And I've noticed that the guys, when I've been there are 2 or 3 guys and girls in there that always have clients. Whenever I'm there, they're coaching, and they're the ones that look the part. They're the ones that seem to, you know, I see them timing rest periods and just real like attention to detail. But then I see like 3 or 4 of them who are just always walking around. Yeah,
or the ones that's like, I watched this. Someone's doing walking lunges, and the PT's just like following them behind on their phone.
Oh yeah. Glorified rep counter. Yeah. I think I was saying that to someone else as well. Is that a lot of people, they just sort of like fall into the gym thing. It's like, what should I do with my life? Oh, I'll go do my reps level 3, and then I'll just sort of go to a Pure Gym or go to fitness
and people get complacent as well because they get that job and they're like, okay.
Well, that's why it's got such a huge turnover as well. There's so many like PTs that are a PT for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and they realise that they forget that they're self-employed.
Yeah.
And they're working for themselves, and if they're not willing to like go through that process and go through the grind of it, then they're going to come up unstuck real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very interesting. So one thing I want to talk about is, so Charlotte is obviously now has her pro card as a bodybuilder and is within the fitness industry, ex-dancer, etc. But you have a very like amazing past where from like a health perspective. So forgive it, like I might butcher this because I'm only going on what I've seen on your Instagram. But you've had, is it 2 heart surgeries?
Yeah.
That's like fucking incredible. So tell me about that. Like I don't know much more other than that. So
okay,
what's gone off there?
Well, funny story actually. This morning
heart surgery. Funny story.
No, this morning a new issue of Real People magazine went out, and I'm in that sharing this story.
Plug. Go buy it.
It's a sort of, anyway. It's 67p. We can all grab one. So I've had 2 heart operations. I was born with what's called a supraventricular tachycardia.
Okay.
Shortened to SVT.
And what's the layman term for that then?
So I was born with it, but it didn't present itself till I was 14. And basically the signals running through my heart, it would come up into my heart, and instead of passing through and carrying on, it would just loop around on itself, like sort of almost like short circuit.
Okay.
And so these episodes could happen anywhere between sort of like a couple times a day to like once a month, like so sporadic. But when we finally got it like tested, because you can't test it unless it's happening.
So could you feel something? Was it like a heart murmur sort of feeling?
You could see a pendant bouncing off my chest.
Oh my God.
So my heart would be beating at 180 beats per minute, sat still doing absolutely nothing for up to 3 hours at a time.
Right, and this is when you were 14?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And this went on for 7 years because I got dismissed from a hospital because they didn't believe me. How
often would it happen?
Anywhere between sort of a couple times a day to like once a month. And so they couldn't put a 24-hour heart monitor on me because it was so sporadic. And I had like ultrasounds on it, different scans. It would all come back fine.
Because they'd have to test it when it was happening.
When it was palpitating. And so it would happen while I was in dance rehearsal, when I was at school. And so I got taken to hospital quite a few times, only for then, when I got hooked up to these machines, for it to be completely behaving as it should have been. And they'd be like, yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with you, you're making this up.
And you're there like, no.
I'm a 14-year-old girl who chooses to spend her spare time dancing. Like, I'm pretty sure this isn't something that I would make up.
Yeah.
And so then 7 years later, when I was at university studying dance, I was in the doctors for something else in Northampton, and it started palpitating while I was in the waiting room at the doctors, and I was
which is kind of lucky in a weird way.
Yeah, because I wasn't there for heart reasons. I don't even know what it was now. I don't know. But yeah, I was sat in the waiting room and I was like, excuse me, I need an ECG like now. So an ECG, they'd put these little pads around your heart and like on your wrist and your ankle, and it hooks it up to a machine and it reads all your heart rhythms and stuff. And basically they were like, your heart's beating at 180 beats per minute.
Fuck me.
So like it'd be physically exhausting, and if it happened when I was in a dance rehearsal, I'd have to stop and just watch because I could pass out. When it went back into its normal rhythm, so I wasn't allowed to have baths, I wasn't allowed to ride a bike on the road, things like that. But I didn't know any of this until, common sense tells you not to, ride a bike on the road if you know you could pass out because of your heart. But all of this stuff I didn't find out until I was like 21. So I've been living with it for 7 years, just kind of going.
So they found it at 14.
So yeah, it started happening at 14. Like I felt it in my chest at 14.
But that doctor's appointment wasn't until you're 21.
But yeah, I didn't find out what it actually was until I was 21.
Oh my God. So what did they do to fix it? So
I find this really fascinating, but some people, if you're squeamish, like maybe just pause for 2 seconds. It was day surgery, in and out on the same day.
Wow.
For my heart.
Okay.
Well, the first one was day surgery because I had it in the morning. The second one was I stayed overnight. But I was awake for it because they had to have my heart behaving normally. Your face.
So they're operating on your heart and you're just laying there?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
So I had local anaesthetic in my groin, and they went in through my groin up to my heart.
My palms are sweating. Right?
And so they went in through my groin up to my heart, and then they had to. And then
there's a lot of stuff between your groin and heart. How do you do that?
I felt. So there are these long tubes. And I also don't have any scars. I just feel like I've been stabbed by a fork in my groin.
That's incredible, isn't it?
No stitches, anything.
So you haven't got any?
No.
Okay, all right. So they stab you in the groin
with a fork. And
okay,
off you go.
Yeah.
So these 3 tubes go up into my heart, and so I'm laying there with an X-ray machine on my chest.
Yeah.
And I'm able to see a live X-ray of my heart with wires in it.
No. Can you feel it? Can you feel them?
Yeah.
It's like when you go to the dentist. I know that's a terrible analogy when I'm talking about heart surgery. But when they numb you, you can still feel. Is that what it's like?
I'm agreeing, but I've never had anything done with my teeth. But
you're lucky. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
you can feel them moving around in your chest, in your heart.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they had to bring in different electrical impulses into my heart to find the dodgy rhythm.
Okay.
And so I was sat there. Who am I kidding? I was lying there. And I could feel my heart doing this funny stuff in my chest because they were triggering different kinds of rhythms. Mm-hmm. But I just had to lie there and let it happen. It's like if you get a muscle spasm or something, it's that, but it's your heart inside your rib cage going crazy. And then when they found the rhythm that was dodgy or faulty, they then gave me a mild sedative and I just fell asleep. At this point, I hadn't eaten and drank for however long. I fell asleep, and then they just applied some heat and burnt away the extra tissue.
Why couldn't they put you to sleep at the start?
Because they had to have my heart behaving normally.
Right,
as if I was under general, it wouldn't have been.
Okay.
I mean, fascinating for me. I loved it.
Yeah?
I mean, the whole process isn't ideal, but it was fascinating.
Yeah.
So then, they burnt away the extra tissue, and then I woke up and...
So that was surgery number 1?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it didn't fix itself then?
No. So I get what's called keloid scars, and so my scar tissue just overgrows.
Right, okay.
So if you see people... Weirdly, not with tattoos. I've got 6 tattoos, and they all heal perfectly. Mm. But if I cut myself or anything, my scar tissue grows outwards.
Right.
And so what happened was where they burnt away the tissue inside my heart, the scar tissue basically grew to where it was, and we're back to square one. Almost.
Yeah.
And so they tell you 3 months after your operation, if you've not had any palpitations, you can pretty much guarantee you're free for life. And I got to 4 months, and I was in my 3rd year at uni in a dance rehearsal, and it went. My heart started palpitating. I just sank to the floor and cried.
No, I bet.
Fantastic coincidence that my tutor, he'd had open heart surgery as a kid and completely got the whole thing. And so I just sat there and cried for a while, and then went back to the doctors. I'd actually got my 6 month checkup or whatever coming a couple months later, and they expected me to walk in and be like, yeah, everything's fine, everything's great. You could kind of tell he'd got his spiel ready to
sign you off,
be like, you're fine, yeah. And I was like, actually not okay. And his face dropped. I obviously wasn't very happy. And then I got booked in for another operation. And basically what they did this time, instead of going through one leg, they went through both of my legs.
Right.
I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, just for the
lols.
Shits and giggles, yeah.
So then I had wires going in through both of my legs up to my heart. And the whole process went again. But
is it a similar surgery then?
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. It just took them longer, because it was scar tissue and not the actual thing. It took them longer to find the dodgy rhythm.
Were you awake for this one as well? Oh my goodness.
And it got quite straight. I got really upset in there and cried because it was taking them so long to find the dodgy rhythm. And I was like, no, it is I'm not okay. This needs to happen.
Yeah.
But if they couldn't find it, then they wouldn't have been able to have operated or continued operating. But then they found it and it was okay. But then they had to stop the operation earlier than they wanted to, ideally, because if they'd have carried on, they'd been so close to my natural pacemaker that I, at 22 years old, would have needed a pacemaker.
Oh my God.
I mean, luckily they stopped it and I didn't, and I'm actually fine now. But there was more of a risk than there probably should have been that I would have had a pacemaker at 22.
And how old are you now?
27.
27. So that was 5 years ago.
Yep.
And no issues since.
No issues since.
Congratulations. That's amazing. And now you've got a fucking kick-ass story.
Yeah.
It's all worth it. I mean,
got a pretty cool story.
In a weird way, do you know what I mean? Like silver lining. Like
I kind of forget that it was even me, because it doesn't affect me in the slightest now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just randomly posted the other month on Instagram, like, Transformation Tuesday. Here's me in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I know, it's different from normal people.
In hospital, yeah.
Normal people's like, I've lost a stone, I've lost 12 pounds, and yours is just like,
gone from heart surgery to
bodybuilding. Heart surgery, yeah. Champion bodybuilder.
Yeah, and then, you know, like the British Heart Foundation got in contact, shared my story, which is really cool.
Well, it's inspirational. It's cool because it means, you know, when normal people get news like that, it can be really dilapidating. So at 22, so were you still dancing then? So you hadn't made the transition to
I hadn't made the transition to fitness yet, no.
Right, so how long after your second surgery how long were you out the game for before you would start getting like active again?
A while, actually.
Yeah.
Because I went in through both of my legs and obviously didn't have stitches, I had to be really careful. Like, it sounds funny, but if I laughed or coughed, I had to literally punch myself in the groin because there weren't any stitches. And so
why didn't they put stitches in?
Because the holes were too small, but then they still had to heal, and so I couldn't, you know, it was all very complicated. Yeah. And so I was just shuffling around because I couldn't like walk properly. And I took a desk job, the most boring thing I've ever done.
What were you doing?
I was withdrawing students from their courses at Reading University.
Withdrawing them?
Yeah, so if they wanted to leave.
All the dropouts?
Yeah, if they wanted to leave, I just processed that on a computer program.
Nice.
Really fun.
Rock and roll.
Really rock and roll. So I had my operation in November, and I probably didn't do anything properly until maybe like the February. So
you were in your final year of your dance degree?
I just finished.
Oh, that's lucky.
Yeah, so I graduated in the summer, and then had my operation in the November.
Wow. Wow. That is
mental.
That is crazy, yeah. I mean, the only experience I've ever had is when I was 17, I had shoulder surgery. And I didn't deal well with that.
But that's tricky. Shoulders are complicated.
Yeah, they are complicated. But I mean, you had heart surgery in and out in one day, and I had to have I mean, I almost passed out. I had this thing called an MR arthrogram, which is where, I mean, it pales in significance after what you just said, but they stick a huge needle in your joint, and then they inject a big amount of radioactive dye into the joint, and then they stick you in for a scan, so then it then shows up all the nooks and crannies. And I hate needles, And I remember the first thing they did is they got this big needle out, stuck it in my shoulder, and I was like, they had an X-ray up so I could see it going in. I was like, that's a relief, like it's done. And they were like, no, that was just the anaesthetic needle. I was like, fuck. I was like, damn. And I'm like, I was a rugby player, and I was trying to be all macho. My palms are sweating just talking about it. And then they brought out the mother of all needles and jammed it in. And the worst bit is that they had a trainee doctor who was there, and the main doctor was like, do you mind if so and so does it? It'll be his first time doing it. And because I was a teenager, I was too shy to be like, fuck no, you do it, mate. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And he kept on missing, so I could feel him jabbing the bone. I was like, oh. Yeah. So
I had that with them putting a cannula into my left hand. They just couldn't get it in, and so then my whole hand went purple, and then they had to go in with the other one.
No. So yeah, that's the only sort of major surgery and stuff. But after I had that scan, they then operated on the shoulder about 6 months later, and I had to stay in overnight, and that was just a couple of it was just 3 keyholes, and that was the shoulder, and still they kept me over. Yeah. So the fact I suppose
it depends what time of the day it is as well. My first one was 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mine was in the morning. I'm pretty sure mine was in the morning. It might have been because I was young.
Maybe
they just this guy's a pussy. We've got to look after him.
This guy needs some TLC.
Needed some sympathy. Yeah. Wow. So, I suppose you've got to make the most of your story now, eh? Do you not think?
Yeah, kinda. But I also don't want to be that person that's always just posting this thing that happened 6 years ago. You know,
I suppose.
I don't want people to get bored of it. Oh, she's doing that again, she's posting that again. I mean, luckily, like recently I've had such great response to it because I think I didn't talk about it for so long.
And also the game's changed in the last like 5-6 years. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like exposure. Even like back like 5 years ago, Instagram wasn't quite what it is now.
Yeah.
Do you know what
and
I mean?
especially now that I've won a show. Like it's an actual success story.
Yeah, it's like a movie script, isn't it? It's different from she went and competed and came 12th. Do you know what I mean?
She didn't place.
Yeah, she didn't place. Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. Yeah. So let's talk more about like your sort of like day-to-day sort of like stuff now. So you are a PT. Whereabouts do you work?
A place called Move Your Frame.
Move Your Frame. Where's that? Never heard of that.
So we've got 6 studios. It's like boutique fitness.
Okay.
Mainly classes, but we've got PT studios.
Is it one of these cool ones that's got dark lighting?
Not dark lighting, but it is pretty cool. We're more about like the feel good. You come to have a good time.
Nice.
Great that you're, exercising at the same time, but it is more about the feel good.
That sort of, is it like HIIT training sort of stuff?
There's bits of HIIT. There's like some lifting classes, things like box fit.
Yeah.
But there's also bar and dance classes and yoga and Pilates.
That industry is just absolutely booming. I was chatting about this with Neve because that's the world that she comes with. And in London now, like they're popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everyone's looking at the success of these big ones like Barry's Boot Camp.
Yeah.
I've seen that other one called One Rebel.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen them.
So it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we've got 6 studios at the moment. 2 of them opened this year already.
And how long have you been with them for then?
Funny story, I've been working for them since as soon as I qualified. So what's that? Summer 2016. But I first did a photo shoot for them in 2015.
Wow.
Before I was qualified or anything. And so there's photos of me on their website and that go up on the wall for posters back when I thought I was a Vision of Health and Fitness.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I found out about them because I did a shot campaign for them. And then I was like, hey, remember me? I'm on your wall. Can I have a job now, please?
Otherwise it's weird. That's cool. So whereabouts are the studios then? Do you work at all of the studios? Or just
I
one?
work at 3 of them.
That's tough.
So
are they close to each other or?
No, so I work Shoreditch, Victoria and King's Cross.
Wow.
Sometimes I go to all 3 in one day.
So what's like an average day for you then? How many classes are you teaching?
Well, I teach 5 days a week. And let's go for a Tuesday.
Yeah.
A Tuesday I teach 7 classes, about 2 PT. I'll do my own weight training. And sometimes I lead some staff instructor training on a Tuesday.
And how long are the sessions?
Classes are 45 minutes and
God.
PT clients are always 1 hour.
That's the thing, is that people just think that like if you become a PT or a fitness instructor that you're coaching like 2 classes a day.
Yeah.
You're chilling out.
I mean, sometimes training. I do, and that's the dream. Like sometimes I finish my working day at 8:15.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Yeah. But you've had to get up at what time?
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like tomorrow is a Friday, and I've actually got 3 classes in the morning, so 6:45 until 8:45. And then I don't have anything else until 5 p.m. And so my break is 9 till 5, and that's someone else's working day.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like when we first opened here. It's just like anyone who opens up their own gym. I was here from 10 to 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Until 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock every day. So Monday to Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday I would be here from sort of 8:30 until about 4.
Yeah, huge, isn't it?
Yeah, and I look back now and I'm just like, I don't know how we had one of my coaches, Dan. He before we did like a little reshuffle, he was doing most of the mornings, and he went away for 3 weeks to Vietnam, and no one else could cover him in the mornings. So I was like, I'll just do it. I've done it before. I got about 4 days into it, and I was like, fuck, I don't know how. And it's just so it's just like a little thing for anyone who's thinking about getting into this fitness game. As glamorous as it might look on Instagram and on YouTube, like the grind is real.
Yeah, like
the times when people want to train your normal 9 to 5ers, they want to train before 9 and they want to train after 5.
Yeah,
and then there's often, like you said, like big breaks in the middle.
Yeah.
So
on my Tuesday, I leave the house at 5:20 in the morning. I don't get back until 9:30.
Wow.
In the evening.
Wow. So what's the dream for you then? Are you planning on staying within the industry and continuing that, or?
Yeah, I don't see myself doing anything else, especially not in the immediate future. like, I'm obviously still going to keep competing and stuff. I'll probably move more away from, I mean, I'm sure that's not an actually grammatically correct sentence, but I'll look to move further away from the classes and more into just PT.
Yeah, that's where more the money's at, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it's, especially if I'm prepping for shows, it requires less of my body.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my classes are full participation.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And so it just takes a lot, especially on like your central nervous system. Like, I'm just getting no rest.
And also
whatsoever.
from like what we were talking about earlier, from like a calorie standpoint as well. I've got a member here. And she is she's one of the fitness instructors in the HSBC building in Canary Wharf, and she'll come in here and she'll just knackered. Yeah. And I was like, "What's going on, Sam? Are you good?" And she's like, "No, I've taught 3 classes of spin today."
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? It's like full on. Like you're training. You're doing someone else's maiden workout for the day 3 times.
Yeah.
And then you're probably doing your own training. Then you're doing PT. And the thing is, what I find with PT, because I've got a couple of PT clients here, I find PT more exhausting than teaching like regular CrossFit classes.
Yeah.
So I find with PT, for that whole hour, and because they're paying a real premium.
Yeah, you're solely focused.
Yeah, and it's like you can't switch off. Whereas in a CrossFit class, even if you've got like a class of 16, you know, it's like little snippets. You can sort of like
step back a little bit.
Yeah, not that you're being lazy,
yourself,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can. It's not. I don't find it as intense. So I think it's really impressive when people just come out, like they just do PT for like 6 clients a day. I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
that's a long day. Yeah, because they can't.
It's mentally exhausting.
Yeah, because if you work in an office, you can have an off day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can have you can go in and you can sit at your desk at 9 o'clock and you can just say to your colleagues, "Look, I'm feeling a bit shit."
Yeah.
And then they'll just be like, "Oh, that's right," and you can.
You catch up another time.
Yeah, you just cruise through, and no one really holds it against you. Whereas if you've got a PT client, you've got a class. If you're having a real shit day, and let's say I'm coaching here, and I'm just like, "All right, today, guys, we're gonna do some squats, and then we're gonna do some pull-ups, and we're gonna go for a run." Instantly, people will just be like, "That was shit."
Yeah, like that's not gonna drive anyone, is it? That's like a good example of this Tuesday. Cool. I like talking about Tuesdays, don't I? Yeah. So this Tuesday, I'd landed back from FIBO on Monday after getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning for our flight. Landed back Monday morning, went into my 7 class Tuesday, went to train legs in the gym. Ooh. And I had a guy come over and was an absolute arsehole to me and made me cry, really upset me.
What did he do?
I've never spoken to him. So I was in there doing, quite a good weight, 50 kg front squats for 12 reps.
That's heavy.
Right.
It's heavy for me.
And it was my second exercise of my workout. I was tired. At this point, I'd already done 4 classes. And he came over. I've never spoken to the guy before. I don't know who he is. And he was like, "Get your elbows up." And I was like, He was like,
is he a coach or?
Well, it turns out he works there, but he was in his training kit just training himself. I don't know who he is.
Did you ask for his advice?
No.
Well, fuck off then, mate.
And so he was like, "Get your elbows up." And I was like, "Actually, I've got quite good shoulder mobility." And he was like, he just raised his eyebrow, tilted his head down and went, "Didn't look like it." And I was like, "Excuse me."
What a prick.
Didn't stop there though. Then comes around the other side of my rack and was just like, "Yeah, so these front squats, you need to drive those elbows up. Like, you're not really getting much, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Are you done?" I was like, "I know how to squat. Sure, my elbows dropped on the last couple of reps. I'd done 12 reps. Quite impressively."
Also, it's like the worst thing that you can do unless you're paying for someone to coach you.
Yeah.
If you're just doing, especially if you've been leading sessions the whole time, that hour or however long you're training, that's your time.
That's my time.
That's your time to sort of switch off, do your own thing. Yeah. If I go to my Pure Gym, my regular spot these days, and if one of them came up to me and said something like that, I'd unlikely cry. Yeah. But I would be like, "Do one, mate. Like, fuck off. Like, I don't want to hear it." Like,
he was in his normal kit as well. It wasn't in his uniform.
So it wasn't even like because I've seen it before where people were like, if they are in their like gym kit, as in like their if they work at Pure Gym, they're in their Pure Gym uniform.
Yeah, no.
And if they're trying to get a new client, it'd be like, "Oh, have you thought about doing it like this? This will actually benefit you," to sort of engage that conversation.
Yeah.
But that's different from just being like.
That's also a different approach.
Yes.
It's
the intent, isn't it? Yeah.
You're doing it shit. So
you should confront him next time. Just be like, hey mate.
Well, that was the thing. I then watched him do front squats later and was like,
you don't know what you're doing.
Your elbows aren't up, so don't come and have a go at me.
Yeah.
And be like, don't think so. And then for me to then watch you, like there was no hi. I turned around to him and I was like, I don't know who you are.
Some people are just
you haven't said hi. Like, who are you? We've never spoken before. And you come in and you're just really shitty with me.
Yeah, and if he catches you at the wrong time.
And then that's when he put his hand out and shook my hand and introduced himself. I was like, you done? Are you done? And then he followed me on Instagram yesterday.
Maybe it's like some weird neggy thing.
That was weird.
No. Yeah.
So now, like, I've not been into that. So it was a gym box and I've got an open gym box membership.
Okay.
So I just go to, because obviously I work in different places, I just go to whichever gym box I'm near.
Yeah.
And so I've just not been back to that one since.
Right.
But, like, he didn't, at that point, he didn't know I competed. He didn't know anything.
Don't let it stop you from going there, though.
No, I know.
Because then he's won.
But it'll be when I get there and he'll be like, oh, I didn't know I didn't know this, blah, blah, blah. I see you actually like training.
Would you just be like, good deal, mate?
I'm not doing this for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate
But then I had 3 classes to teach straight after that.
Oh, I bet you so you had to then switch it back on.
Yes, sorry, that's that story.
Yeah, back to the point.
I wasn't just telling you about this shitty training session. So I had to, just switch it back on and go in and teach 3 classes like I was fresh.
Yeah, I mean, I've had times here, like in the sort of early days where the rent in London for space, and we've got quite a big gym a CrossFit gym. Yeah. It's like 3,500 square foot, and the rent here is astronomical. And when you first open, obviously you've got no members.
Yeah.
You've got 0 turnover. You've got no money coming in, and there were times where I knew like it was like 2 days before my rent was due. And I was like so stressed, like unbelievably stressed, like didn't know how we were going to survive, what we were going to do. And then I'm like checking my bank balance and I'm like speaking to people and trying to get stuff sorted. And I'm like, I've got to coach class in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I've got to be out like, hi guys,
everything's great.
Yeah. And they just like, the members just, they don't, it sounds horrible, but they don't ultimately care how you're feeling because they're not paying you for,
they're paying for the service.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's your responsibility. It's part of the job to be not just knowledgeable, but you've got to be high energy because there's nothing worse than being in a class with someone who knows lots and lots and lots but has low energy. You have to be like the barometer. You have to be like the yardstick of like you're the baseline. Like you set the tone.
Yeah.
And I've had members come in and they'll regular members who I've known for years. And they'll just walk in and they've clearly had a bad day. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? And then they'll just ignore me and walk past. And I'm like, and I think it's like, I'm not allowed to do that to you. But because it's that weird relationship where like the line's blurred. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's how it is. And then at the end, they normally then loosen up a little bit. But it's crazy. Sure. The life of a fitness professional.
Yeah.
So what's next for you then? What's on the agenda? You've got April 2019 looking to compete. What's happening like sort of in the immediate future? You got body power coming up. The only reason I'm not competing at the end of this year is my friend's getting married in Ibiza in September. Oh nice. Whereabouts in Ibiza?
Oh, I don't know.
So I'm going to Ibiza like I said in June. And I'm going to San Antonio, which is like
we're doing a split. So some of us some point we're staying in San Antonio, sometime we're actually like Bora Bora Beach or whatever it is.
The nice part.
Right.
There's some really, really nice, like Ibiza Old Town is really, really nice. But then San Antonio is like, Malia equivalent.
Yeah. So we're doing a mixture of both. We're doing the hen do and the wedding all in the same week.
Yeah, so that's the way you want to do it. But Ben, one of the coaches here, he went to Thailand for like 3 weeks. And his Thailand trip was both a stag do that then led into the wedding out there. Yeah. And it just sounded, if you won't mind me saying this, he came back 10 kilos heavier. I mean, I'm not doing that. No, he came back and I was like, Ben, have you eaten Ben? I was like, what's going on? I was like, in 3 weeks, he just completely went off the rails. So I'm there for like 5 days. Oh, that's not too bad. But it's also not what you want to be doing on competition prep. I did Ibiza on competition prep last year. No. I think and it's like my friend's wedding. I can compete anytime. Yeah, you got to. Hopefully, this will be the time to get married. That's what I mean. You've got to enjoy those things. Yeah. You can't stop the rest of your life. Yeah, you can't go to a wedding and be the person eating dry chicken breast and broccoli. I'd have broccoli to go with this. Like, no, have a piece of cake, Charlotte. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have the wedding cake. Yeah, so I've got body power coming up. And then I'm not really sure. Just going to build with April next year in mind. Mm-hmm.
I'm also trying to, get a few qualifications in my belt. I've got an assessment for Olympic lifting course.
Nice.
Coming up.
Slowly getting to that CrossFit thing. That's what I mean. We're all getting there. We're just invading slowly into the
just
fitness.
Just getting there. Yeah. Can't get my hands around a hook grip, but whatever. One day maybe.
You'll get it. You'll be like me. You'll end up hook gripping your steering wheel. I remember when I first started, I was like, this is never going to work, this hook grip. For those of you who don't know what hook grip is, it's when you hold onto a barbell and instead of having your thumb on the outside of your finger, you wrap your thumb around the bar and then you sort of like grip your thumb itself.
Yeah.
And when you are not used to doing it, it is the most miserable thing in the world.
It's so uncomfortable.
But then, it'll become like, it'll just become the norm. It'll just be something that just happens all the time. So you've got Olympic lifting. Have you ever done any Ollie lifting before?
Tiny little bits.
Little
bits that I've done at CrossFit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do need to come down here more.
Yeah, so you've just done one session, haven't you?
Yeah, I did the event and then I came and did one session after that.
I've got to mix up a little bit.
Yeah. For me, it's time.
Yeah.
Getting away from work, but
we won't pick on you too much when it comes to front squats. It'll be constructive criticism.
Well, I can handle constructive criticism. Just don't be a dick.
No, I can't promise that. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's probably a good time to finish it. So if people want to find you, what's your Instagram?
Charlotte Clarke UK.
Charlotte Clarke UK. Give her a follow. My Instagram is coach_David_Marshall. It's good to have a really long Instagram handle, which I'm learning was a bit of a mistake. Cool. If you haven't already, subscribed to this podcast. And yeah, that's it. Sweet.